Elgato, who created this lovely stream deck. For more information about the stream deck, the link is in the description below.
Howdy, everybody. How are you guys doing? I am Austin Knight. I am joined by Nick Allflatt. Nick, how are you doing?
I'm good tonight. Welcome, everyone, to the official AOR Esports Team Tournament PC Round 3 around the streets of Monaco this evening. We should be in for one heck of a race, judging by how the first two rounds have previously gone. Welcome, of course, to Austin, his first time commentating on this official AOR Esports Team Tournament.
Yes, it is my first time. Not my first time commentating for this, but, you know, it's always fun. And what better place to debut on the F1 Esports Team Tournament in probably my favorite track, Monaco.
Indeed. So just while we are waiting for the lobby to get underway, it might be worth telling you guys who is driving for which official esports team there are tonight. The esports teams have a pool of drivers that they picked before we started the first round, and they pick two drivers from that pool to represent themselves in each round. So we'll start off with the team driving in the Mercedes, that is Team Shazoo, and they will be driving with Chromatic and Vito once again, as they did certainly in round 2. I can't remember if they did that in round 1. Then the Red Bull team, we've had a tricky start so far. They'll be using Topa tonight and Chem Bollock Bassi as well. Then we move on to the Williams Esports team, who have been smashing it so far. They are top of the standings with 80 championship points. They will be using Alvaro Caraton and Tino Naukarinen, otherwise known as Timp.
Yes, also racing in the Toro Rossos are the Rapid Racing team. They have been searching for their first points, but I have a feeling Monaco is their specialty.
Indeed, so I believe the lobby is just about to get going, so we should be getting into the qualifying session here in Monaco very, very shortly. So, going over the team points so far, we have, as I said, the Williams team on 80 points so far, dominating the championship standings. Then we have VP Gaming, the German team, who are currently have 50 points. Then Haas have 30, who are the Comrade Gaming team, with Failer and Non-Runner. They currently have 30 World Championship points. Mercedes Team Shazoo with 20, Red Bull with 10, McLaren ERL Esports with 9, Sauber, which is Visceral Racing, otherwise known as VSR, with 2. Then Force India, which is the Force India is the official Zen team with 1. Then ORL in the Ferrari currently, and Rapid Racing team also have 0 points.
Well, as qualifying is about to start out, let's go around a hot lap of Monaco.
Hello, I'm Jack Nichols, and you're joining me for another Apex Online Racing Hot Lap. This week, it's Monaco. We're being driven around by David Konitsa as we come over the start-finish line and down into the first corner of Sandoval, one of the biggest braking zones on the circuit, down into third gear, quickly up to fourth, as we then start the climb up towards Massenet. One of the trickiest corners on the circuit, wide line in, try and hug the inside all the way around to be nice and tight through Casino Square and down the hill into the hairpin of Mirabeau. Again, hugging the inside all the way around before the slowest corner on the Formula One calendar, the Lowe's hairpin. And it's a little flick right using all the curb down to Portier now, alongside the Mediterranean Sea and out into the famous tunnel. Flat out through here, up into 7th gear, and then onto the brakes into the Nouvelle Chicane. just after the 100-meter board, using all the curb on the way in, and then this incredibly fast left-hander at Tabak, just down one gear, and then back on the power, flat out through the swimming pool section, and then into the second part, all the curb again, and into the final sequence of corners, past the famous Raskas bar there on the right-hand side. The final corner is Anthony Nogues. Get that neat and tidy, and you've completed the lap of the Monaco F1 circuit.
Thank you, Jack Nichols, for making a special guest appearance in the commentary box for that hot lap. As qualifying's going underway, let's go on the track and see what's going down. We're looking over Vito for Shizou Gaming in that Mercedes, coming around Raskas and Anthony Nogues right there. And it looks like a flyer, definitely indeed. Back end kicking out just a tad bit, but he is looking very nice right now.
Indeed. So we have 15 minutes left to go in this qualifying session. They have an extended 18-minute qualifying session, do the drivers, in this esports qualifying tournament. So we have 18 minutes for them to set some times, and we should be seeing some rapid times here this evening.
Indeed, Monaco is known for producing some rapid times, as Muller sets the first time of a 107.888. That's insane.
It is, and I'm sure we will only find some quicker times this evening as Joni Tormala comes in with a 17.3.
Sembol Baski is out.
Chembolok Bassi is indeed currently out of qualifying. Not quite sure what's happened there. A couple of other drivers have retired as well.
I saw Merrick in the wall. He went wide on the casino square.
There was. I saw Chembolok Bassi just before it disappeared. There was a Red Bull in the wall at the end of Anthony Nogues just before we got on the start-finish straight. So, of course, walls are very tight here at Monaco. So, unfortunately, Chem may have been trying to accelerate out of that final corner, and it unfortunately hasn't gone well for him.
That is also unfortunate for Merrick and Rebel, who Joni Tormala has set the fastest lap, but with his teammate, if the race starts right now, this would be a very interesting situation with one Red Bull at the start and one Red Bull at the back, as Williams Tim sets in the new fast lap of 107.345 on those Hypersoft tires. Oh, and Crow spun completely around. He clipped the inside of the Nobel chicane, and thankfully his car just spun around. Thankfully it stayed in one piece, but that is disastrous for Shizou Gaming right there.
But I don't think he was on a fast lap, so he should be able to recover that.
He was.
Oh, he was. Oh, that's very disappointing for him. He's not currently got a time on the board, but he still has about 13 minutes to be able to, as he dives into the pits there, unsurprisingly. He's got about 13 minutes to get back out onto the track. One of the fortunate things about Monaco is that it's a very short lap, so they should be easily able to get back into the pits, get themselves ready for another lap of the track.
Yeah, everyone's kind of in that little lull right now, just trying to get a lap time. Hyper's running on 0 ERS. Either he's going to the pits after having a lap invalidated, or, yeah, he just kicked on the lights. And here goes Hypers for the ERL team in the McLaren.
So it's going to be a very interesting contrast here between the last round, of course, where we had that really long back straight in China, where everyone was able to, teammates were able to give each other slipstream down that long back straight. We're not going to be able to see the same here as the only straight, the only DRS straight really in Monaco doesn't really help you that much at all. So it's going to be interesting to see whether teammates still have that kind of, that team mentality, or whether drivers already sort of, leave it to each other to sort of go out on their own in this round. We'll have to see how things go in this qualifying session. Still 12 minutes to go.
It will probably be everyone on their own. They'll probably just be extending tire strategies with each other and setup strategies. That's the only way I can see teammates helping each other here at a tight and twisty track such as Monaco, as Hypers is just flying through the swimming pool chicane. Bit of a lockup throughout his wheels. Hasn't really backed off, so he's still on a flyer of a lap. Comes across the line. Where does Hypers go? P4. Great lap by Hypers.
It is, as you can imagine, incredibly close at the moment. Timp has that pole position time by 14 thousandths of a second. Then there is a bit of a gap down to his teammate Alvaro Caraton in 4 tenths back. Then it's 419, 421, 450, 494. It is going to be incredibly close, as you've seen in most of the rounds so far in this AOR Esports Team Tournament on the PC side.
You know what's incredibly close? The gap between Williams Tip and Yanni Tormula. 1/100th of a second separates them.
Indeed, 14 thousandths of a second. I'm just having a look at one of the Zen team, Corny, who's about to go onto a fast lap now as he goes through turn 1 there. We've still got over 10 minutes to go. As Austin said, we may well sort of experience lulls in the qualifying session as teams go out and do their times and then come back into the pits and get on a new set of tyres ready for their second run in the session. Yanni Tormula for Red Bull goes in with a new pole time of 1:7.1. That has given a bit of a benchmark for the rest of the field now to aim at.
I won't be surprised if somebody breaks into the 106s. We're still watching Zen Corny right now. Zen getting on the brakes, a little bit of lockup in both tires going around Rascas, flying around Anthony Nas and down the front straight, opens up DRS and coming across the line. Zen Corny goes up into P9.
Excellent stuff from Zen in that Force India. The Force Indians, of course, have yet to get any points on the board, so hopefully they will have a decent round. Currently in 10th and 13th, so there is certainly room for improvement, but hopefully they will be able to improve themselves as the time goes on. We still have 9 minutes 10 seconds to go, as I think that is Real Racing Yenab, who is about to come on the start finish straight, open up that DRS, accelerate up towards 180 miles an hour before breaking down into turn 1 as he's on a fast lap there. Timp now only 25 thousandths of a second behind Yanni Tormula. It is so close in the top. I'm not sure, Johannes, what actually happens to Marek. Oh, Alvaro Caraton on pole there for the Williams team. Sorry, Austin, to cut you off. I'm not quite sure what happened. We're not sure what happened to Marek.
I actually saw Marek's car. He crashed into the casino wall near the very start. I'm not sure how he ended there, but something tells me car hit wall, car out of race.
Indeed. So that was the same with Chembolok Bassi as well. His car, I noticed, was in the wall at Anthony Nogues, the final corner. So we've had a couple of incidents with cars going in the wall in the qualifying session. So Marek and Chembolok Bassi will be starting from the back of the grid. It'll be interesting to see what strategies those two go on. They've got about 8 minutes to think about what strategy they will go on. It'll be very interesting indeed, particularly with the VP Gaming team that are currently sitting second in the championship, 30 points off the Williams team, particularly with Preschneider, their other VP driver for tonight, only sitting in 14th. So, and with Williams currently sitting first and third, they've got a lot of thinking to do, those two Renault guys.
Yeah, we're looking at Preschneider right now as he comes across the line. I believe to start his first lap, or trying to make an improvement on it, but he's still pushing on, so I think Preschneider is actually starting his flying lap, and I joined him right as he was about to start. So let's stay on board with Preschneider as some yellow flags are in sector 1 and 2. Preschneider actually taps the wall with both tires, but I believe, yeah, he's kept most of his front wing. In fact, all of it. Hops over.
See, I'm just watching ERL Matthias as he looks to be coming across the start-finish line. He moves himself up from 10th to 8th, so the ERL boys are doing pretty decently there, both inside the top 10. In the McLaren, they've only got 9 points so far, the two of them after 2 rounds, so they'll be looking to move themselves up the championship standings.
Let's switch back to the Renault VP Preschneider. A bit slow coming out of the chain, massive hit into Tabak. Flying through the swinkle chicane, another tap of the wall. Surprised these guys are able to be so aggressive with these cars. Might just be my American connection. But Preschneider coming across the line. Where does he go? Jumps up to P8 right ahead of Matthias.
So good to see the VP guys moving up the order. Let's have a look and see if any other drivers are currently on flying laps. It looks like the majority of them are either on out laps or sort of halfway through flying laps.
Johnny Tormula. The Red Bull, he's on a flyer.
Excellent. Let's have a look. Tino Halkarinen puts a questioning emoji in the chat there. He's wondering what he's going to do to try and make up that 1/10.5 second gap that he's currently got to his teammate. As Joni Tormula improves, he's now only 64 thousandths of a second behind Alvaro Carreton, who's currently on pole.
We're just looking for, I believe Vito's on a lap. Yes, he is. I saw a few people cheering for Vito in chat, so they're going to like this shot of Vito coming through the swimming pool chicane. Just tapping off the walls just slightly, but Vito, pokes it hard right and goes into the pits. To the Haas boys of CRG not runner. Railgun's out of the race. Qualifying session.
That's unfortunate there. He was about to, I think, start on a flying lap. So unfortunately, he probably has put it in the wall as well. Unfortunately for him, Jan Fehler across the line, getting into 9th place for the Comrade Gaming team. Nicely done from the Haas. You can just see how close it is. The top 12 separated by only 1 second. It is so close. On board with VSR Muller, who is currently riding in 10th place. He comes through the final corner now. Let's see, is he either going to start a flying lap or come across the line now? He's moved himself up in a P4. Stunning lap from VSR Muller from the Visceral Gaming team in the Sauber. He's got himself up in a P4.
Visceral is definitely going to love that lap from Muller, because position is key here in Monaco. Position wins races mainly. You aren't going to see that many on-track overtakes, but you're going to see a lot of close racing, and it's all come into the pit stop strategy as well.
Indeed so. We are seeing a number of cars now exiting the pits to come out on what may well be their final lap in the qualifying session. We have 4 minutes to go as Zen, one of the Zen drivers, has also retired, as has RIEP Rapid Racing as well. The two of them come together. I'm not sure, both of them retiring at a very similar time. I saw Ipioni coming out of the pits. Clearly he wasn't able to complete his warm-up lap. Very disappointing there. But we still have 15 drivers left, and we are going to have a very exciting end to this qualifying session, as we have about 3.5 minutes left to go here in Monaco.
We're just watching a few cars on their out lap. No one's really on a flyer. Zen is about to start his lap. One of the Force India drivers down in 13th place. Not really sure how to say that name, so I'm not even going to attempt it.
But here he is then, going across the line to start his flying lap, is the one remaining Zen driver in the qualifying session. Going up the hill then towards Casino Square. He'll hopefully be around the track in less than a minute. He'll be starting the going across the start-finish line. But we have just under 3 minutes to go now. This will be where the drivers are pushing, as it is basically now or never if they are going to improve their qualifying times. As indeed, I also hope, Genial, saw that the retirements in qualifying don't reoccur in the race. You would think that the drivers will be more cautious in the race, as they know they have quite a few laps to do in the race. I believe it's 39 laps we'll be having around this street circuit here in Monaco, so they will need to certainly be far more cautious as we go through the session now. The Force India driver is coming up now towards the end of his lap as he goes through Raskas. Bit of a lock up there, but that's okay. Going through Anthony Noakes now, getting on the DRS. Where is this lap time going to put the one remaining Zen driver in this qualifying session? Up to P8, 6/10 of a second off the pace of Alvaro Carreton.
Top 13, all under a second with each other. That just shows you on how close this competition is. As we're going to look at the last Rapid Racer left. That is Janab. I believe he's at the tail end of everyone coming out of the pits right now. So let's take a look at our pole sitter, Alvaro Carreton. So he's coming out, and Crow has retired for the session. Alvaro unable to improve on his time. Well, that was an out lap. What do you go mean?
Let's have a look at Joni Tormula coming through at Raskas now and about to come through Anthony Noakes. 64 thousandths of a second between himself and Alvaro Caraton. Can he improve? Yes, he can. Into the 1:06s. 1:06, and Tino now Corinne Timp comes in and improves as well. 1:06.911. We are going to be seeing some rapid laps now as we come towards the end of the qualifying session.
Let's see if Alvaro can join the 106 club, but that is so close between Williams Timp and Yanni Tormela. Wow.
Indeed, as we are coming to have a look at some of the other drivers that are coming towards the end of their laps. Irel Matthias is going through the first sector. Non-runner, I think, is about to start his flying lap. Irel Hypers also coming up the hill towards turn
Alvaro's
1
got
on
some
the flying
traffic.
lap. As
Janab is out of the race, and Alvaro has to cut it up the inside of Rascaz, and his lap was completely shut down by Manuel, one of the Ferrari drivers, just holding him up in the very last corner. Alvaro came in there like a charging bull, and he met one of the Ferraris, and that is disaster for Alvaro right there with 20 seconds left.
So Irel Matthias is currently very slightly quicker than his previous best. Yanni Tormela retires from the session. He is clearly happy with his time, and there's no time really left to improve on that. Irel Matthias coming across the line now, hugging that wall, improves to P7, jumps up one place. Manuel Biancalila will not be happy with that. He's about to enter the tunnel. He's about to enter his last session, last time of the session.
We're looking over CRG non-runner right now, coming down the front line. No improvement.
Well, stays in P11. Irel Hypers just overtook him as he was on his lap as well. Let's have a look and see what other drivers are left on a run. Vito is about to go through the final corner, but he's jumped into the pits. So I think that is pretty much the end of your qualifying session. A very, very strong session there. A very, very tight selection of drivers, which is only going to lead to a fantastic race here in the Monaco Grand Prix. Fantastic stuff from all drivers.
Indeed, it will. A little bit of controversy at the end between Alvaro and one of the Ferraris, but I don't think he'll be that much bothered by it because he's still in third. As your qualifying order, it is Williams Timp starting at the front with Yanni Tormela in second, followed by Alvaro Caraton, Vito, Muller, Crow, Prushnader, Matthias, Manuel, Hypers, non-runner, one of the Zen drivers, Jan Feller, Jinab, James Pinkster, Ipany, Corny, Ralgon, Merrick, and Sam Bombaski starting all the way from the end. Merrick and Sam haven't set a time because they crashed on their out laps or their flying laps.
So very interesting to see how that goes on. Red Bull, a team that have struggled so far in the tournament in general. It's been a combination of bad luck and situations like Chembolok Bassi faces now, where he'll be qualifying starting from the back of the grid. And in a track like Monaco, it's going to be very, very difficult for him to make up places as the race goes on. As Monaco, of course, tight track, tight walls, not a track that is specifically known for overtaking. But these are some of the best drivers on the PC platform, so they are bound to surprise us as this race goes on.
Yeah, turn 1 is going to be key here. Who is going to send it into Saint Devat? Remember, it's a bit of a tricky issue heading over that first curve. If you do that, you will get a penalty and you will have to do a little drive-through. And hopefully nothing goes wrong in a turn 1. That's just flirting with disaster right there, if I could say that. As we're going to try to get Nick back in the session, everyone's going on the formation lap. Here, tires are the Hypersofts, Ultrasofts, and Supersofts. See a few of the drivers: CRG non-runner, Jan Feller, James Pinkster, Railgun, Merrick, and Sam, all of them going onto the Supersoft tires. Jinab and Corny opting for the medium Ultrasoft tires. So everyone's just making their way, getting these tires warmed up and ready to go here in Monaco. I hope you guys are ready for one wild ride. as Nick is back.
Sorry, hello, I'm back. That unfortunately tends to happen. My internet just decides to, you know, not want me to go on the race. It happened in the last round as well, if you guys were there. I also connected on the formation lap, but back I am, ready for the 39 laps of absolute mayhem, carnage, great racing we are hopefully going to experience here at the Monaco Grand Prix. So the Williams guys doing very well, as they have done in the last couple of rounds. First and third place on the grid. They are, I'm expecting great things from them. Joni Tormala will be flying the flag for Red Bull as well going into turn one. They should be fantastically placed there. And we have Vito there flying the flag for Team Zhuzhou as well. And Muller for Visceral Racing. Those top five should be doing fantastically well going into turn one. We shall have to see how things go.
As everyone's lined up and ready to go, we are waiting for the 5 red lights. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here they go, racing at Monaco.
So here we go then, mate. It's going to be a dive towards Sandoval. It looks like Joni Tormala and Tino Nekarin have gone through there okay. It's going to be Vito holding 4th place ahead of Muller. Crow in 6th place. They all look to have gotten through the first couple of corners okay here in Monaco. Couple of positional changes, but it looks like we've gone through actually remarkably okay in the first couple of corners here in Monaco.
They're going too wide in the back of the Lowe's hairpin. Everyone diving for positions. There's carbon fiber all over the place at the back of the Lowe's hairpin. I'm trying to keep contact with that, but it looks like Ipany has dropped 1 place as well as Jan Feller in the back. And I also saw
sorry, carry on.
Also saw some front wings falling off of a few drivers, but up at the front, we're going to rejoin Vito and everyone else. They kept it clean and they're running away with this.
Indeed, considering it is Monaco, there has been a remarkable lack of position changes at the start. The top 12 are all as they were. Yenab's gained a place on Jan Fehler. Corny's gained a place on Ipany. Marek and Chembol Akbasi have both gained places on Railgon, who's currently sitting in 20th.
Jan's heading into the pits. He's the one that lost his front wing, as well as Ipany. And non-runner picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Interesting, looking at the tyres that the drivers have chosen to as well. Top 10 are on the Hypersofts, and then we have a selection between the Supers and the Ultrasofts on the drivers below the order. Yes, indeed, Railgon did unfortunately leave the session during the formation lap, so I'm not sure if he's actually running. I think it may well be. Yeah, he's not actually running, unfortunately, in the race. So, unfortunately, Railgon has retired early on due to technical difficulties, but we remain with the 19 drivers that are still here, and it is as before. Tino leads from Joni Tormala, Caraton, Vito, Muller, Crow for Team Zhuzhou, as well as Vito 4th and 6th. Presnader in 7th place, flying the flag for VP Gaming. ERL Matthias in 8th, Biancalida and Hypers, the other ERL driver, in 10th place.
As they're going on for another lap. Lap 3 out of 39. Joni Tormala sets the new fastest lap for the Red Bull Esports Racing Team, as DRS is now enabled. Really won't do that much here, but it will keep some cars close to each other and might entice a few moves, as Moeller and Vito are extremely close with each other as they just come out of the casino square.
Indeed, just watching the drivers now all go through that casino square section, and it is that battle for 4th that appears to be the closest one on track at the moment, as Vito gets a little bit of lock up in the corner before the tunnel, and we'll have to see how things can go as the race progresses. We may see a bit of a lull now. Of course, it's the Monaco Grand Prix, not known for on-track overtakes. It may well be the strategy. It depends what time the Hypersoft runners will have to go into the pits. There's a little bit of a collision at the wall at to back, which is not, necessarily too bad an issue. Can help keep you on pace. Also coming out of the swimming pool section as well, you may see drivers tap the wall to keep themselves on point as well. ERL Hypers picks up a 3-second time penalty, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, as Moeller has now fallen off from Vito. Crow is pressuring Moeller right now, and it looks like Crow is lining up for a move. Where? I don't know. I don't race as hard.
Oh, sorry, I apologise. Hypers has gone into the wall there out of turn 1, and he has lost a great proportion of his front wing, and that is going to cause him a great deal of problems there for the ERL driver. He's now going to dive down through the field. I just called the end. VP Marrick's retired as well. Devastating for the VP Gaming team as they've lost one of their drivers, but ERL Hypers is going to drop down through the field now. No front wing, I think, on that McLaren.
Yeah, there is no front wing on Hypers. Sembal Baski, he's holding up Sembal Baski, actively defending that position like it was for life. And oh my goodness, Hypers has actually hit Sem!
Hypers defending that position for all it's worth. He's going to have a very, very difficult run down to the pits to change that front wing, and I'm sure he's going to try and go on to probably some soft
tyres.
Oh,
he just drove full speed, and there he goes, out of the race. He went full speed into the swimming pool chicane, and I don't know if he's just given up and just wrecked the car on purpose, but he is out of the race, and his car's on track, and we are now under a virtual safety car.
Virtual safety car, so that's going to possibly help out a couple of drivers who've got a little bit of damage. They might want to jump into the pit lane and possibly get a bit of, if they've lost a sort of small amount of the front wing to get themselves, they might want to rectify any small bits of damage they have. But yeah, only a virtual safety car. So the drivers are being forced to drive to a delta, a time limit, and they need to sort of keep the gaps between themselves exactly the same. So we have 17 runners left in this race. Railgun, despite the fact it's showing that he's still in the race, he is unfortunately not competing in this race. He had technical problems, so we have 17 runners. Tino for Williams leading the way at the moment.
Yanni Tomola actually picked up a bit of ground on tip, and this restart is going to be key for the Red Bull as we are back racing here in Monaco.
Interesting that the restart came just as the front runners were about to enter the Rascasse corner. So it's interesting to see, as I think we have Vito in the pits for Mercedes. Interesting that quite a few drivers are jumping in the pits, so it's probably about the time for the pit window for the Hypersoft tyres. Though it's a bit of a shame that the virtual safety car did not carry on for some of those drivers. But Tino and Joni Tormler will be starting to pull away now from VP Preschneider in third place in the Renault.
As I popped up the pit stop strategy, lap 7 is when everyone should be going to the pits, but these guys are on 5-lap old tires, so they're definitely going for a different strategy than what is on screen. But everyone hopping onto those super soft tires for that main strategy of just the one stop that they want it to be safe.
So, interestingly, looking at the stops, it is Crow in the Shazoo team that is currently leader of the drivers that have stopped. So there must be a bit of a changing of positions during that pit stop phase. So it's currently Crow that has effective lead of the Grand Prix, as he is 19 seconds off the pace of the leader.
Well, the leaders are now on the race as Kirton picks up a 3-second time penalty. Crow went into the pits way early on than everyone else, but we'll see where he comes out.
It's going to be very interesting to see where he rejoins in relation to Tino now Karinen, who is about to exit the pit lane now. Let's see whereabouts he rejoins in relation to Crow. He's just come out of the pit lane. It's going to be very, very close between the two of them.
He's going to split him.
He does. He stays ahead. It's Crow. It's now Tino, the leader of the guys that have made pit stops. Crow and Yanni Tormala in 6th, 7th, and 8th. We still have the top 5 yet to make a pit stop.
Oh, and Crow's going to send it up the inside on Tip, but Tip holds it around the outside. That was a risky move by Crow, but he is itching for that position because he just saw him coming out of the pit, and this is effectively the fight for the lead right now.
It is indeed, as the drivers who have yet to make pit stops are only just up the road, so they will not be staying ahead once they've made their pit stop. So it's the top 5. The Z driver, I7, Sui, Yenab, Smeej, Corny, and Chembolak Massey have all yet to make pit stops.
Yeah, I expect them to go into the pits right now. but some of them are on different tires than each other. Janab on the Ultrasofts inherits the lead with Smeege on the Supersofts. He's going to go for the reverse one-stop and hopefully pull out a gap to William Tip, who has just switched onto those Supersoft tires and hopefully hoping for an incident to give him a better lead. But it is Rapid Racing up in front with Janab leading the race. And also at the back of the field with Ipney trailing on behind.
Indeed so it's going to be a very interesting race to see now how long these guys on the Ultras and the Supersofts can take their tyres as Chembolok Bassi almost gets inside the back of the Force India of Zen Corny as they go through the Lowe's hairpin. And now it's going to be interesting to see what Tino does, as he's going to have much quicker tyres, much fresher tyres, but he's now going to be on the back of this group of four. So it'll be interesting to see how he deals with this, as Zen picks up a 3-second time penalty for a little cut there at the Nouvelle Chicane.
You're going to see a lot of those this race. That chicane is known to bring out the worst in all of these drivers, corner cutting wise. And just a little small wheel over will get you a penalty, and honestly, that is what will happen. Only real 2 spots on this track where you can get a corner cutting penalty.
So the top 4 all continuing as we start lap 9 in this Monaco Grand Prix. Yenab still leading from Smeege of Visceral Racing. Zen in 4th, Chembolok Bassi of the Red Bull in 4th place. Those top 4 all have yet to make a pit stop, as you can see by the tyre life that they have on those tyres. Jenab and Corny on the Ultrasofts, Smeege and Chembolok Bassi on the Supers.
Remember, Smeege started in dead last place, and he's moved up to 4th, but it's all on one stint, so we'll see where he rejoins the entire field when he goes into his pit stop for his actual place. But talk of the tape right now is Crow in technical net 2nd, splitting Yanni Tormila and William Stipp after going into the pits earlier than everyone else, as Vito picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings.
It's interesting to see, as now there does appear to be a little bit of a train forming behind these guys that have yet to pit. Yenab starting to get a small lead now over Smeege, though, just stretching that gap. It was just over a second. It's only interesting to see how this goes on. We've kind of got 2 little different races going on at the same time with these top 4. We're going to be going much deeper into the race.
Sembol Basket going for a move on Corny. They're side by side coming up these little S's, but it's going to be Sem up the inside around Massenet. Corny up the inside of the Casino Square, but Sem, he gets his back end loose, but Sem dives it up the inside, puts him almost into the wall, and it's going to be Sem making a move for P3.
Fantastic move from the Red Bull of Chembolok Bassi. As I said, he's not had the greatest luck so far in this competition, but showing his skill there, getting past Zen. Monaco being one of the most difficult places to overtake, and Tino now Karinen might be trying the same thing as he's going to dive down the inside of the Nouvelle Chicane. He's had to lock up his tyres there, as he's had to brake just at the last minute, as he wasn't able to get the move done in that Nouvelle Chicane. It's going to be very interesting to see now how much Tino gets stuck behind Zen, as of course he has those much fresher tyres. He's going to be very close. He's not going to go up the inside into Rascat, as he know he's not. He decides better on it. Zen pits, and that releases now Williams, Timp and the rest of the field behind him.
It unloads the charge of all the other runners, and I believe Corny had a bit of front wing damage, which caused that massive train. But what a move by Sembol Basky to make the jump on him. He was well aware of that, and that was great heads-up driving by both these guys to not put up both these cars in the wall and cause a giant traffic jam.
Indeed. Austin, we're just getting pulled up on your pronunciation of Chembolok Bassi, the Red Bull driver. It is Chem, certainly not Sem. I appreciate, as an American, it is difficult to pronounce all of these complex European names. Or Turkish in the case of Chem.
Yeah, I don't spend much time over the sea, so...
No, indeed.
I do what I can.
So we do have these top 3 who have yet to pit in the Grand Prix. But let's see, as they're coming round the pit lane now, Yenab continues round on those Ultrasofts, as does Smeege, as does Chem. You need to see when Yenab actually pits on those Ultrasoft tyres. So it'll be interesting to see how long he can go in this Grand Prix.
I believe Janab has 2 more laps on these tires before he needs to pit, but that wall is closing lap by lap as you see Smeej reeling him back in lap by lap, just now under a second separating both these guys.
Indeed, so Smeej just going into that Lowe's hairpin, a little bit of a lockup on those super soft tyres. The gap is now about 7/10 of a second between himself and Janab in first place, but Chembalabasi getting ever closer behind Smeej now. He may well be looking to make another insane, crazy dive bomb move, but he may also decide to think, and as Smeej picks up a 3-second time penalty again, that Nouvelle chicane is struggling. The drivers are struggling to stay within those track limits at that Nouvelle chicane. Tino now coming in as well. Williams Tim in behind those top 3 drivers.
As Hypers posted a little regard, it was not intentional of the block, it was just a lack of downforce.
Indeed. So these drivers, of course, as per usual in AOR races, do have the option to go to the stewards panel after the race, and anything that happens on in the the drivers do have the stewards panel that is available to them, so they can go and have a look at the any incidents that occur throughout the race and any options that they can do. As I think Ipany there has made a move for 16th, but that is because Zen Corny is in the pits for what I believe is the 2nd time in this race and having a front wing change again, so not going well for the Force India team.
Looks like Sam Balbaski is making a charge on Smeej right now, as both these guys are starting to get in a bit of a train, and it's back to the front wing to gearbox racing that we have seen throughout here all today, and there goes that advantage that Janab had after the leaders went into the pits.
Indeed, so these top 3 are now starting to potentially be holding up the front-running guys as Tino Nakarinen puts on the DRS, but of course everyone else has DRS, the cars in front of them, so it's not actually going to affect them too hugely, unfortunately, as we go through turn 1, and the gaps remain pretty much the same.
We're just riding on board with the Red Bull right now. Just trying to find the optimal position, just waiting for these guys to go into the pits, as the net lead is Williams Tim back and forth.
Oh, interesting battle on track now for P9 as VSR Muller and VP Preschneider starting to get towards the back of this pack, but Preschneider is right on the back of the Sauber of the Visceral Racing of Muller, and he gets a little bit slidey coming out of the corner before the tunnel. It's interesting to see whether is he going to make a late dive bomb move into the Nouvelle chicane. Not quite. You can just see just ahead of the track that the cars are starting to catch up to the back of this train, going from first place down all the way to P8.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused on how that gap actually formed up. Was there just a side-by-side battle that just made both of them just separate from the rest of the field?
I'm not sure, but that gap is certainly starting to close now. Maybe Muller is struggling on those super soft tyres, who knows? But the gap is starting to close as we have Crow and Joni Tormler. Oh, contact between Crow and Joni Tormler. Joni Tormler has actually lost a bit of his front wing there. It is Monaco, so it's only an end plate. We'll have to see whether that affects Joni Tormler as the race continues on, but there was contact. Joni Tormler hit the back of the Shazoo of Crow in the Mercedes, and that is going to affect him throughout this second stint.
Yeah, missing an end plate will provide a big loss in downforce. Not a massive amount, but it is a noticeable amount, but he can stay out with that wing right there as they're just going through the chicane. Joni Tormler still chasing down Crow as everyone's just following as close as they can, waiting for Janab Smeez and Sam Balbaski to pit.
Indeed, so let's have a look. All 3 drivers continue round for another lap. So we're riding on board with Tino Nakarinen as we start lap 16 of this 39 lap race here in the Monaco Grand Prix. Still stuck behind those top three. He can't find a way through. Bit of a gap now down to Crow as he was battling with Joni Tormela, who's not quite as close as he was on the previous lap. He does appear to be struggling ever so slightly with that loss of the end plate. There is a big lock-up, and now he's going to be vulnerable to Alvaro Caraton in P7 behind him, the other Williams car, as Joni takes a lot of curb there at the Lowe's hairpin. And just having a look now, this train is starting to have picked up the majority of the field, actually. It's almost, you can almost argue the train going down all the way to CRG non-runner now in P12. Only 7 seconds separating those top 12s, but he's getting very close now at the top of the field.
We're switching over to Symbol Basket, and the drivers at the front, Janab still staying out for another lap on these Ultra Soft tires. I think he's going to try for a one-stop of some sort. Might switch over to the Hybrids and just extend the life out of them, or switch over to the Super Softs and just have a safe start. But Janab, really the conductor of this massive train. There's a massive gap behind Tim. What's happened to Crow?
I don't know. I think Crow is appearing to struggle at this point. 12 laps on those Super Softs. Maybe we're getting to the point as, Preshnader in P10 almost has a little look at the inside of VSR Muller as he goes into one of the corners there. The name escapes me, but he's coming out of the Lowe's hairpin now and about to enter the tunnel, and he's not quite able to get the move on Muller at the moment.
Mirabu hot. That corner. Mirabu.
Mirabeau indeed so. The corner comes back to me now.
With the right pronunciation.
Indeed so. It does help that I have a French degree, so I am able to pronounce the corners in Monaco a little bit better than Austin can. But either way then, we're having a look. As Chem gets a big old lock-up going into Raskas, and now we're going through Anthony Noakes. And all three drivers continue on as we start lap 18.
Yeah, we're on board with Symbol Basket. Looking back at Tim and Sam. Tim really in the lead of this race as he's just within the pit stops window of Janab, Smeej, and Sem right there. But great drive by Sem, starting from last and coming up to third. His tire strategy is helping out with that, but it's honestly paid off well for him. Just got to see where he ends up.
Indeed so, as I'm still on board with Alvaro Caraton in 7th place, just trying to find his way past Joni Tormela, who, remember, does have that loss of end plate as he made contact with Crow in front of him. But ironically, Monaco, a track that you'd think a loss of bit of front wing would make a massive difference, actually doesn't affect you too badly, as you're not taking corners at a massive amount of speed. There aren't too many high-speed corners. To back, maybe it will affect you, but aside from that, there's really not too many corners where just an end plate loss is going to affect you that badly. And of course, Monaco being a track where it's difficult to overtake, once again, provides you with a little bit of a safety net in terms of having that problem in terms of a loss of a part of your front wing. All three drivers continue on at the front. Are they going to be pitting lap 19, lap 20? Joni Tormela and Caraton getting very close once again. Almost contact between the two of them. Caraton keeps the whole of his front wing.
Yeah, I believe he will have a loss of downforce in Massenet and the tunnel, as well as to back in all the other corners that you have mentioned. Those are the biggest sweeping high-speed corners, and Casino, but since it's on the front left side of his wing, it really won't provide that much of a loss of downforce, mostly on the outside turns that he will have the biggest disadvantage, so that will be in the Casino square.
Indeed so. Ipany pits at the back end of the field on some Ultra Softs to take him to the end of this Grand Prix. And now then, on board with Tino, are these top three going to continue on again, or are they going to come into the pits? They continue on, as we're going to start lap 20. 19 laps on the Ultra Soft tyres. Yenab is really doing well in terms of tyre conservation at this point of the Grand Prix.
And causing one of the closest races we have ever seen. Sure, it's Monaco. Sure, they don't really have that much room to pass, but they are so close to each other. It just it gives a racing fan the biggest smile on their faces. Oh, I just thought Yorny was gonna lose a position to Keraton, who looked like he was gonna have a peek around the outside as Jan Feller picks up a 3-second time penalty. Yorny actually almost getting pitchforked by Alvaro right there.
There is currently 7 seconds between Yenab in first place and Matthias down in P13. These drivers are all following each other, nose to tail, as they have been for about the last 6 or 7 laps at this point. So it's got to come at one point. These top 3 drivers are going to have to pit at some point.
Janab has
interesting to see.
Janab's pulling out a gap to Smeej, and it looks like Janab might try to pit. No, he stays out, but Sam is actually jumping into the pits.
Cembolok Bassi in the pits then. He'll be going on to some ultra soft tyres to go to the end of the Grand Prix. That now means that Tino Naukarinen is free to try and catch up to Smeej and Yenab in first place. This may cause a little bit of a gap between Tino and Crow for a small amount of time, but then eventually, of course, the rest of the field will catch up, and then it will be business as it has been for the past few laps. Keraton still right on the back of Joni Tormela, as Joni Tormela will have to struggle with that end plate loss probably until the end of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, he's not pitting at all, as, Alvaro gets extremely loose out of the Lowe's hairpin. Smacked into the wall, but I don't think he's got any front wing damage to worry about. Just going to separate himself from Yanni just a bit. Keep it clean and just keep it relaxed. He's in a nice spot. Nice, good points being scored right here.
Indeed. So Cembolok Bassi on those ultra soft tyres has come out in P14, about 18 seconds off the pace of the leader at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how long Yenab and Smeej stay out as they're about to come past the pits again. Yenab's in. Smeej continues on. So it's going to be whether Smeej continues on, bunches up the field, and maybe Cembolok Bassi will be able to capitalise from this. It's interesting to see whether he comes out ahead of Yenab, actually. I'm going to go on board and see if
Tip
he does.
is charging. He's diving down into Massenet. Gets his front wing in there. They're going to be side by side, trying to upset Smeej into the casino. And Smeej actually goes to the inside of the wall as Tip is just trying his best to get any advantage over Smeej. But, he's being so aggressive right there. He's actually getting a friendly bump from Crow behind. But he has been, ever since we saw Sam go into the pits, Tip has just been on it, knowing these guys have to go into the pits and try to get as much advantage he can on Crow and Yanni, who are stuck behind him.
So, Cembolok Bassi, a Smeej massive lock up into the Nouvelle chicane there. Cembolok Bassi has actually come out ahead of Yenab and is on past the tyres as well. So, keep an eye on Cembolok Bassi for the rest of this Grand Prix. Still 17 laps to go. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes as Tino's right on the back of Smeej. Those tyres are dead now on that Visceral Racing car as Smeej continues on once again. Incredible tyre management, keeping these super softs going for now 22 laps. Tino trying to find a way through. But of course Monaco, in its fantastic manner, is proving very, very difficult. Will Tino have a go on the inside of Casino's side by side? Tino and Smeej, and he's made that move stick. Incredible.
It's a little bit loose out of the exit. He gets a little bit loose out of the exit, but Tip expertly jumps ahead of Smeej, and now Smeej is going to have to deal with Crow, and Tip's going to run away with this unless Crow has anything to say about it and pass Smeej up. But so all eyes are on Crow right now for the advancement of this train.
And Joni Tormela will be thinking, we need to get past this Sauber as quickly as possible, otherwise Tino will start to fly away from the rest of the field, as he's already built a gap of 1.2 seconds as Crow goes into the wall at Tabak, and that means he's lost a bit of his front wing as well. So he joins the front wing loss club along with Joni Tormela, who both will be suffering. And is that going to force Crow to pit? It doesn't. He continues on. But this may well change everything, as Tino will have a fantastic gap now that he can start to build over the rest of the field.
Yeah, Crow has more damage than Yanni. It's just his front wing elements missing. Yanni is missing just his front end. Actually, no, Yanni's acquired even more front wing damage, and now he's also missing his end plates. Well, his end plates and elements. on his front left, so that's going to affect his slow speed corners as well.
Indeed so we'll have to see how things are going. Smeej holding that second place, remembering he's not pitted so far in this Grand Prix, so now he's forming quite a bit of a train with Crow in P3, Joni Tomala P4 and Karaton in P5 as well. All are going to be trying to get themselves past that Sauber that I believe will be coming into the pits in the next couple of laps, if not at the end of this lap.
Oh, Sam picks up a 3-second time penalty. He's obviously pushing his car, trying to extend as he actually gets an overtake on Zen right there. What happened to Zen? Where's Zen?
Oh my word! Alvaro Karaton and Joni Tomala going side by side through. As we're about to start lap 25, they go side by side into turn 1, and Karaton, has got a bit of contact there as they go through turn 1. So Karaton picks up a little bit of damage as well, but he has got the move on Joni Tomala. Fantastic racing between the two of them, and they are both now struggling with a little bit of front wing damage as both of them lock up into Mirabeau, and as they go into the Lowe's hairpin, Karaton has made the move on Joni Tomala for P4.
Yeah, and Alvaro's pulling away from Joni right there. Doesn't have as much damage as Joni has, and both Williams are just crazy overtaking right now as Alvaro is going to charge up onto the back of Crow and Smeej right here.
Indeed so. Williams, Tino Alcaridden now has a 5-second lead over Smeej, and it's importantly his rivals around him.
Corner's out.
As we have yellow flags in sector 3. Not quite sure what has caused that, but the drivers are continuing on. Crow is getting ever closer to the back of that Sauber, which still hasn't pit yet in the Grand Prix. Is Smeej going to be continuing on until he can put on the Hypersofts to the end of the Grand Prix?
There is no other way to put it. Smeej is definitely going to try to go for the Hypersofts right now.
Indeed, so to keep our eyes on that. There's an interesting battle coming up for P6 as Preschneider and Muller has Vito retires from the Grand Prix. Lost one of these Shazoo cars. And
I see an overtake Matthias up the inside of Sem Balbaski, but no, Sem holds it around the outside and Matthias was cut off. I believe the door was shut on him and he didn't want to damage his car or damage anyone else's, but Sem absolutely closed the door on Matthias. I saw him diving up the inside into the left hair, but Sem picks up P10 and almost comes into the back of non-runner right ahead of him.
Cem Balbaski has much fresher ultra-soft tyres, only 5 laps old compared to non-runners 21-lap-old super softs. Cem could have done an absolute masterstroke in terms of strategy as he's right on the back of non-runner, literally pushing him through Raskas as they go side by side through there, but he's not quite able to get the pass completed. As we start for Cem, it will be lap 27 of the Grand Prix, so keep an eye on Cem. As I say, he could be one to watch as we come towards the end of the Grand Prix, as these guys still have 12 laps to go on their tyres. Cem can easily go to the end. Don't know if the rest can.
Non-runner on 22 lap old ultras, and he's going to send it up the inside, and he gets it very cleanly. Nothing as I believe that is Manuel and Preschneider going side by side. There's contact. They get parked in the wall, and Sem's going to send it up the inside on Manuel. They're still side by side, but Sem going into the tunnel straight. He does get the Ferrari, and that is 2 places in 2 quarters by Sem. What moves he has just performed for us as Manuel tries to handle around the outside in the late braking, but unable to do so. A little bit of contact by Sem and Manuel right there, but Sem, superb driving by the Red Bull driver right there.
So once again, Tino now has stretched that lead to 9 seconds as Smeej continues on those super soft tyres. He has Crow behind him, Alvaro Karaton, Joni Tomala and Muller all are trying to get their way through. Muller has actually put a bit of a gap now to Preschneider, who was pressuring him earlier on in the Grand Prix. So it'll be interesting to see how this carries on as Crow and Smeej and Alvaro Karaton all very, very close behind each other. Cem Balbaski now is closing on the back of Preschneider. So it'll be interesting to see whether we have another Incredible move made by Cem Bolokbati as we still have 11 laps to go in this Monaco Grand Prix.
That front left tire is smoking all through the...
Also, we have a move by Yenab in the Rapid Racing team up the inside of ERL Matthias, who I believe is struggling with connection issues. So that may well explain why that was such an easy move to make by the Rapid Racer, as he is now closing on the back of the Force India of Zen I7 Shui as well.
I thought Cem had a hard name to pronounce.
Indeed so. Smeej continues on once again. Lap 29, he will be starting on the same tyres that he started this race on. Unbelievable driving from Smeej at this point in the Grand Prix.
Oh, no, never mind. He was looking for it. Freshnader's...
He's getting so close to the back of Freshnader. Is he going to go up the inside?
Yes, he
does
does.
into Casino Square. And Cem Bolokbati up into P7. And now, next on his mind will be VSR Muller, the other Visceral Racing team. His teammate currently in second place. The Visceral Racing Muller in 6th. Cem Bolokbati flying through the field as we still have 10 laps to go.
This is Monaco mastery right here at its finest, and Cem, starting from the back, is in 7th after pit stops. This guy is something else.
Indeed so. Cem is finally showing us what he is really able to do. He's been able to get through the midfield madness and is really showing us why he is one of the stars of this F1 racing game. Oh, a bit of a double lock-up as he's trying to get past VSR Muller, but he's not able to do so. Crow making a... Smeej, I apologise, I was getting excited. Smeej has finally pitted in the Grand Prix. Lap 30 decided that was too much for Smeej, but Cem Bolokbati once again getting right onto the back of VSR Muller as we have now 9 laps to go in this Monaco Grand Prix.
And he's going for a move around the outside, was looking for it, but as they enter Casino Square once more, Muller and... I've been being aware that I cannot pronounce this guy's name to save a life, but he's going to send out
the inside into the Lowe's hairpin from Cem Bolokbati. What an incredible move. He's actually almost managed to make it work. There's someone they're going side by side contact between the two of them. Unbelievable. Muller makes a move up the inside as they now go through the tunnel. Unbelievable scenes in the Monaco Grand Prix. Cem Bolokbati is giving us an incredible show as we move towards the end of this Grand Prix. Incredible driving here from the Turkish Red Bull racer.
There was a lot of bump and run through all of Sector 2 right there, but the order stays the same, so you really can't call anything dirty, just maybe a little bit of payback by putting your car into a place where it will be in a position to get hurt.
Oh, but here comes Cem again. Is he going to try a DRS move around the outside of turn 1? It was a very brave move, I should say, but not quite able to make the move work on Muller, but he's having a look through Casino Square, not quite able to do so. Freshnader is starting to get close towards the end of this group now, but is Cem Bolokbati going to go up the inside of Mirabeau? He does once again up the inside. Cem Bolokbati into P5. I think that is Rapid Racing Yenab, who's also made a move on the Zen driver I7 Sui in the Force India as well. Cem Bolokbati now will be chasing down Yoni Tormala, his teammates Alvaro Caraton, and Crow has got a little bit of a gap, a little bit of a train forming behind him now in the battle for P2.
Yeah, remember, Crow still has those that broken front wing, but what moves by Sem, or however Sem, to get... I'm sorry, it's getting hard for me. By Sem to join up his teammate in 4th and 5th. Also, Janab is in position to get the Rapid Racers' first points of this esports team tournament.
It is going to be, indeed, actually a fantastic battle between Yenab and Zen. Both drivers will be pushing for their teams to get the first points of this the AOR Esports team, as Crow makes a small mistake into Mirabeau, and that's allowing Alvaro Caraton to get right onto the back of his car there, but not quite able to find a move as Cimbolo Bassi has now joined the back of this 4-car fight for P2, as I think that is Smeege making a move on ERL Matthias for P12. As Smeege also is going to be...
Is under that AI, by the way.
Indeed so, but Smeege is going to be one to watch on those ultra soft tyres as well, as he's going to look to make a move for 11th place as they come out of the tunnel, going up the outside into the Nouvelle chicane. Is their move?
Oh, he's got to get pushed wide. Both of them picking up a 3-second time penalty, but I believe he's going to be forced to get that position back. Yes, he does.
Indeed so, that may well be ones to send to the stewards after all, as Smeege picks up a 3-second time penalty for cutting the chicane, but he had nowhere else to go. And now, as we go back to this battle of the P2, gaps are actually starting to spread out a little bit between the four of them. Oh, as Cimbolo Bassi gets very close to the back of Yomi Tomila.
Oh, this is going to cause a bit of inter-team controversy if there is contact right here.
Oh, move around the outside, Manuel Biancalila trying to cut across. He's looking up the outside for P8, for P7, going into the Mirabeau there, as Smeege also makes the move up to P11. Cimbolo Bassi has gotten past his teammate Yoni Tormila. So we talked about teammate controversy. I think Yoni just let him go in the tunnel there. So he knows that Chem is on much fresher ultra soft tyres and has got the best chance of challenging the Williams and the Shazoo of Crow, possibly for P2 in this Grand Prix. I think with 5 laps to go, the win is a little bit out of reach at the moment, but Chem has 5 laps remaining to try and get second position, which would be incredible considering where he started.
Well, remember, Crow is in second. Tim, he's 18 seconds ahead of Crow. So with that damage, Crow's still staying in second, but we've seen Sem just absolutely destroy everyone up here. Will he try to make a move on Alvaro? But Alvaro defending on the inside, absolutely shutting the door for Sem right there. But Sem is going to send it up the inside into the Lowe's hairpin. And
the two of them are still side by side. Alvaro Caraton defending for his life for that P3 position. Now Chem's going to have another great run up the inside of Alvaro Caraton, but he thinks better of it as they go into the Nouvelle chicane. Cimbolo Bassi, if we had driver of the day vote, I'm sure he would be up there, as he has had a fantastic drive this evening for the Red Bull team, as we only have a few laps to go though. So Alvaro Caraton only has a few more laps to defend that position. Can he do it? Only time will tell. Yoni Tormila is still hovering at the back of that group as Chem has a look into turn 1, but he's not able to find a way through.
Yeah, Chem closing in on Alvaro, just trying to find any way around. He's been providing a Monaco masterclass, as I said earlier, but Alvaro, knowing Seb and knowing on how he defends, once again up the inside, just making his car as wide as possible for the Red Bull, but I think he's just going to accept that place. Well, I spoke too soon, as he puts his front wing down on the inside of Alvaro once again.
Now the battle for P7 is still kicking off as well, as Manuel Biancalila, who's going to be scoring ORL's first points if he stays where he is at the moment for the Ferrari team at the moment, trying to make his way past Preschneider in P7 at the moment. But the battle we need to focus on is Cimbolo Bassi, Alvaro Caraton and Shazoo Crow for P2 as we approach the last few laps of this Grand Prix here in Monaco. It's going to be one hell of an ending.
I must also point out that Sem has a 3-second time penalty from earlier. I believe a few of these other drivers also have a few time penalties. Speaking of time penalties, the NFL picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Indeed so. I'm just going to have a look at the time penalties while Austin can do some commentating to see how this is going to affect this top 3 battle.
Well, Sem closing in on Alvaro. Alvaro defending on the inside. Sem gives Alvaro a little bit of a touch, and Alvaro locks up Sem, just trying to find any room. He's going to go for a switchback down into the hairpin, and he gets his entire car just side by side with Alvaro, and he gets past him. A little bit of archie-barchie, but Cimbolo Bassi up to 3rd. last place to third. What a drive. With 3 laps to go.
So I'm just having a look at the penalties. Chem currently has 3, but also Alvaro Caraton has 3 penalties as well. But Chem Bolak-Bassi's had a couple of warnings since then, as has Alvaro Caraton actually. But Shazoo Crow does not have any penalties. Smeege has made a pass on Rapid Racing Yenab, so Smeege is now in the top 10 for Visceral Racing, so well done to him. He's got... as Manuel Brancolina is pushing Presneder through Raskas for what is going to be the 37th time as they start the 37th lap to position 7 and 8. Not long to go now in this Grand Prix, but there is still a lot of time left for moves to be made.
As Chem on with Crow, will he try the same move as he did with Alvaro? Bit of an arch-barge touch right there, but remember, Crow has that broken front wing, and it's very impressive that Crow, the first one to go into the pits out of this entire field, is still in second. But Chem looking around the outside, switch back to the inside on tunnel. He's going to switch to the outside, but he gets his door closed by Crow right there. But Crow cuts the chicane as Chem now just trying to find any way around Crow. He knows Crow's wounded.
There's a move for P8 there. Smee just gone around the outside of Manuel Biancalina, the other driver on the super soft tyres, that he's trying to blast his way through the field, as Crow and Cembolak Bassi still battling for P2 at the moment, but Smee's the other driver who is blasting through the field at the moment, as Cembolak Bassi, sorry to jump around the field, is going to go around the outside of turn 1 and almost gets put in the wall by Crow there, but he's able to keep himself going. Lap 38, there are 2 laps to go in this Grand Prix. It is literally now or never in this Monaco Grand Prix. The couple, we're looking at Smeege, we're looking at Cembolak Bassi, the 2 ultra-soft runners. They're going to be charging their way through the end of the Grand Prix around the inside of the around the outside of the Lowe's hairpin. Cem had a look, but not able to make it stick, as Smeege and Presneder battling for P7 there. As you can see, I think Smeege has made that move stick on the Renault. But we're going to stick with Cembolak Bassi and Crow as they go to the Nouvelle chicane. Is Cem going to have a look?
There. He's got his entire car there.
Side. There we go. That's P2. Crow getting that 3-second time penalty for going a little bit onto the chicane. But Cembolak Bassi up into P2. It's been a great drive from Cem. There may well be a couple of incidents that are looked into after the race, but now in front of us, Cembolak Bassi, starting from P20 in the Grand Prix, is currently starting the last lap in position 2.
Technically, he started for P19 since Railgun retired on the formation lap. That's why it shows 18 positions up from when he started. But what a drive by Cem. And we're going to switch over to Williams' tip right now as he is just cruising along. Wasn't really... Ever since the train was disformed, William Tip just got past Crow and just sent it up, and up and away he went in first.
Indeed so. Tim has had a pretty unremarkable race, to be honest, and he's about to come through Raskas and Anthony Nogues for the 39th and final time as he is weaving across the line. Your victor is the championship leader, Tino Naukarinen. Williams continue their reign at the top of the table. Cembolak Bassi coming through the swimming pool chicane now. He will be finishing in position 2. A great drive from him. Alvaro Caraton is still...
We got to fight for the last final point between Janab and Non-Runner. Non-Runner is Janab. Janab trying to get Rapid Racer's first point as the Haas and Toro Rosso battling it out. But Janab up the inside, trying to find any way around Non-Runner. Non-Runner leading a bit. Janab just trying to get past him, but I think it's going to be Non-Runner in T10. But Janab off of penalties gets P10 and Rapid Racer's first points.
Indeed, some of these penalties can, of course, be contested in the steward's inquiry. But for now, this is the result that is currently on your screen as we watch the final. Rapid Racer IE Pioni is going to come home in position 14 on those ultra soft tyres. And there we go, 14th for IE Pioni. It has been a fantastic race. I'm sure you will agree here in the Monaco Grand Prix. A great result for the Red Bull drivers in the end there. I think that's Joni Tormila also getting on the podium.
He got up there off penalties.
Indeed so. Crow, unfortunately, picked up a couple of penalties, but has dropped him down the order. So we have 2 Finns and a Turk on the podium. Fantastic stuff then in this Monaco Grand Prix. I am losing my voice as we've had a fantastic race here this afternoon. So then, your full race results. Austin, do you have the pleasure of taking us through the results?
I'll let you take that.
Oh, okay then. Williams Timp in first place. And we have Cembalak Bassi, despite his 3-second penalty, making up that time at the end to get into position 2, starting from P20. My driver of the day, certainly. Joni Tormila in third, his teammates. Big points being picked up by Red Bull, who have struggled so far in this series. VSR Muller in fourth. Crow taking fifth in the end. That 3-second penalty dropping him a couple of positions in the end there. Alvaro Caraton, Timp's teammate, doing well at the end there to pick up 8 valuable championship points. Preshnader seventh. Smeej not quite able to get past him at the end for 8th place. Non-runner 9th. Yenab picking up 1 point for Rapid Racers in that Toro Rosso. Matthias missing out for ERL there in 11th. Manuel Biancalila also missing out on getting ORL's first points of the campaign with 12 seconds worth of penalties there, unfortunately for him. Jan Thaler 13th. Ibioni 14th. Zen I7 Sui in 15th. Vito, Corny, Hypers, Marek, all retired, and Railgun, unfortunately, lost connection on the formation lap. What a race this Monaco Grand Prix has been. Austin, thank you so much for stepping up alongside me and streaming the race this evening. Thank you very much in chat. It's been great to have a look and interact and see what kind of stuff you guys have been saying this evening. And yeah, Austin, it's been a great pleasure commentating alongside you.
Well, we actually have one more thing to do. We do have to put in a bit of interviews with a few of our drivers. So you want to get on to that?
We don't tend to interview in this AOR Esports Team Tournament, so we are just going to leave it there for you guys. Thank you very much for watching the stream. It's been a great pleasure to interact with you. I've been Nick, I've been Allflatt. Austin has been alongside me. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure to commentate this one with you. And Austin, I'll leave you to say some final goodbyes.
Thank you for having me here. I certainly was... It was just the most fun I've ever had. I hope everyone had a great time. I'm Austin. I've been joined by Nick Allflatt, and I hope you guys have a good night.